What happened at your work which caused multiple people to all quit at once? They laid off half the company with no warning. This included a gentleman who was less than a year from retirement and had been there for 35 plus years. The company was shocked when half the remaining people abandoned ship shortly thereafter. At previous, and final, employer they did a round of layoffs. Now this is Europe, so you need a reason to fire people with a contract, and they said it was for economic reasons. So naturally, like rats on a ship, a massive exodus began. Everyone was looking for a new job. Management didn't expect this, so a month and a half later, they released their Christmas speech, calling for fresh young talent, and asking people to stick together like family when they fired 30 people just 6 weeks ago. Come January, the second wave of the exodus was well underway. The company consistently outpaced competing firms and found itself emerging as one of the industry-leading agencies. This was also a California tech firm, so shorts, flip-flops, beers at lunch, getting high on the roof were all rather common. But we were rapidly growing, and the atmosphere/location made us a hot ticket for talent. Anyway, CFO and CMO cashed out and the CEO decided to totally remodel the company by making it far more corporate. On top of all of this, they implemented unattainable goals and removed our work-from-home policy. The final straw was they removed our rather generous vacation policy and replaced it with unlimited vacation, which was a facade for you can take as much vacation as you want if we approve it. Like 1/4 of the company quit and immediately landed at better jobs. Also profit tanked. Unlimited vacation is such a scam. When a company gives limited vacation time, they have to pay you for days you accrued but didn't take when you leave the company. Unless they give unlimited vacation. In that case, they don't have to give you shiz. The only time I was ever denied vacation is when I worked for a company with unlimited vacation time. I worked at an unlimited PTO place for a while. At first it was actually really good. As long as you were getting your shit done, nobody really cared. I took a week for my wedding and 2 for my honeymoon within the span of a couple months, plus another trip later in the year for a long weekend, plus a few sick days. Every year, it got a little worse. Then the recommendation became 3 weeks a year. Then it started being not a good time to take a day. Then I got in legit trouble for taking 2 days to catch up on doctor and dentist visits, and was asked to space them out next time. Now I work for the government. 15 days vacation plus 1 day for each year of service, caps at 14 years, sorry, and 12 sick days a year. No complaints. Restructure of the way we're paid. What I used to do involved about 40% client interaction, 20% team/coworker interaction, and 40% paperwork and case coordination stuff. Based on what we do, that means only 40% of the time is technically billable, and there are really sticky rules for what is and isn't billable. So, logically, we were being paid on a salary model. Q management saying we can only make money for the time we have that is actually billable. 1/4 of the department quit. 2 of us on the same day. The same thing happened during the time I was in an inpatient rehab facility. It was a wonderful place in MA. Honestly, anyone in my friend group that I met there and stayed a month with, I still talk to, and pretty much everyone has benefited from that facility and is still sober or has only messed up a couple times in the last 3 to 4 years since. We got a massage every 2 days, yoga every other day, guided meditations in the morning, equestrian therapy, horseback riding, hikes, went to town twice a week to go bowling/movies/laser tag/skate rink, acupuncture, had spiritual advisors, etc. And this wasn't some sort of Jesus place either. In fact, we never really talked Christianity except for the traditions that took place before all the groups in the morning where everyone who was a Christian got together to talk about the Bible. This place wasn't necessarily by the book, and was not based around AA/912 steps, which emo is why it was so successful. Not trying to knock the whole thing, but that has never worked for me nor the people who were in and out of rehab 20 times doing that type of thing and having it never work for them. This place was different, the staff there was amazing, it was sort of a hippie type place. We got amazing home-cooked meals 3 times a day. And I mean stuff like steak, shrimp scampi, giant salad platters, wings, etc. Best food ever, seriously. Between that and the gym, I gained 30 pounds while I was there, which was much needed as I weighed about 140 while there and 170 leaving. The staff was just amazing. All helped us come to terms with who we weren't all book-oriented. They were just amazing spiritual people. People who you really couldn't be around without being in a good mood. I know that they hired this way on purpose, because they seriously had a good thing going there that I have never seen or even heard of before. Then they cut funding for what they couldn't bill for. All the coolest people got laid off and the rest of the staff that could still work there were extremely irritated. This all took place in my last couple weeks. Well, I heard from the people who were there longer after I left that basically the entire staff left except for the more corporate asshole people, and that the entire place had entirely changed within a week to just another rehab place that won't be of help to near as many people anymore. I have a lot to say about these systems and treatment in the US. And this place was a perfect example of how we are doing it all wrong, and then once something good and different is going, it gets changed because of money. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is what they pound into your head at rehab. Well then, you know what is insane by that definition? Someone going to same old rehab facilities over and over and never staying sober, and then being expected to not try anything different. Something different needs to happen. This stuff obviously doesn't work for 99% of people. That's the actual statistic, and that's insane. Turned out our owner was keeping the Social Security money taken from our paychecks. And yes, he was caught. You can pull that scam for about 4 to 5 years. Really insane, the lack of communication between the IRS and SS. Can confirm, I used to withhold taxes for babysitters for my kids, because you're required to if they are over 18. Had a payroll service to do all of the calculations, gave them pay stubs, the whole nine. 4 years after I stopped doing this, I get a letter from SSA stating that they never received one quarterly filing for one of my kids' former babysitters, and would I please forward it along. They gave me a summary of the reported wages. They were close, but off by a few bucks in either direction for the years before and after the one they were missing. I dug out the documents and found out that the reason for the confusion was that the payroll company accidentally filed on the previous year's form, pre-printed year on the side. I called SSA, where they basically just said don't worry about that, we just need a number, the IRS is terrible about providing the totals to us. So I gave it to them verbally, they wrote it down, and I haven't heard from them since. The owner died and his idiot son took over and decided that the company didn't make him enough money and started to implement cost-cutting measures like turning off the AC in the building. When I was 16, I worked in the concession stand at a minor league baseball stadium. Minimum wage at the time was $5.15 per hour. This job paid $8, and it was always in the evenings, so it was perfect work for a high school student. The only bad thing was our management was terrible. The main manager would throw toddler tantrums about once a shift over stupid bullshit, like not ordering enough of a specific beer, she did the ordering, or running out of pre-cut lemons for tea. One night the stadium was running a promotion and it was incredibly busy, easily 2-3x the normal volume of customers. We were all working our asses off handling multiple roles, each with absolutely no downtime. Although we all cleaned as we worked, nobody had a chance to do thorough cleaning for the whole shift because of the never-ending horde of hungry baseball fans. The manager showed up 3 to 4 hours late per usual and throws the biggest fucking tantrum ever over the unswept floor. Finally, she announces, "Listen up, you lazy fucks. Minimal work gets minimal pay. Everybody is being paid minimum wage tonight because you slobs won't clean up anything." Both of our bartenders in the bar back quit on the spot, which caused a chain reaction. We all took off our aprons and hats to leave. She blocked the exit and was red in the face from screaming, so one of the cooks climbed out of one of the big serving windows where we served customers, so I did the same and most of the staff followed. Bear in mind that this all happened in front of like 200 plus customers. Of course, my final paycheck got lost, so I had to file a wage theft complaint with the Texas Workforce Commission. Owners retired. They were literally the greatest people, both very sweet, but kept the place running like a well-oiled machine. They took pretty good care of us and their restaurant. When they left, they gave the restaurant over to their nephew, who at the time was a busboy/waiter, kind of standoffish, didn't really interact with us too much, a bit lazy at times, but for the most part did his shit and went home. He seemed okay. Until he got the power of being the owner. He fired 4 people, including 2 of the 4 cooks, and 2 of the 3 dishwashers, literally that same day, on a Friday night just before the dinner rush, all because he didn't like their attitude. He refused to allow people to take vacation that they'd already requested and gotten confirmed by the original owners, would change the schedule randomly without telling anyone, and then scream at people when they missed a shift or came in late because of it. He'd refuse to replenish the kitchen until we were literally already out of things, then take forever to put in the orders. He showed up randomly and would drink at the bar, for free of course because he was the owner, and then bring in all his buddies to drink with him. Together they'd get way out of hand and grab at women and try to start fights. Within the first month of him being the owner, over half the staff had quit, usually walking out literally in the middle of their shifts, after being screamed at, They'd basically throw down their aprons and tell everyone else that they were so sorry but they couldn't do it anymore. After the last cook, this big dude who usually kept the kitchen laughing and running at a decent pace, started crying in the middle of his shift and dropped everything he was doing after the boss came and yelled at him for being too slow and making slop, then walked out. The rest of us just bailed along with him. 4 months later the place was closed. His aunt and uncle were absolutely furious and devastated that he'd run the business they built up for over 30 years into the ground. I used to work at a McDonald's, and we had a terrible manager who hated a lot of people working there. Everyone else hated him too, but no one wanted to call him out on his shit and quit. I was the first to do it, because I requested 2 weeks off in August of that year, about 3 months in advance. My family likes to plan our summer vacations early on. When August came around he had my schedule set up for all of August off except for those specific 2 weeks. There was no way that he could have misinterpreted my request. When I got my schedule, I stormed into the restaurant, called him out on everything, and then quit on the spot. About 2 weeks after that, I heard from one of my work friends that 5 other people had enough and quit as well. I kind of felt good to be the first. What makes a good manager at these types of places is recognizing that 95% of their minimum wage employees could go get an equal paying job on their lunch break and start the day. Your store isn't special. The only personnel management you have to do as a GM is to make them want to work there. Do just enough to motivate them to make your store successful and then spend the rest of your energy making it a place they want to work. Make them happy and they'll naturally become better employees. The place I currently work at had a manager like this when I first started. That guy treated everyone with respect and was always friendly. If he saw you slacking he'd just politely come up to you and say, "Hey, let's go find a project to work on," and then he would help you with it. You just wanted to impress this guy and work hard for him. The guy was always at the store for opening, regularly stayed late to help close. He would regularly schedule beer and wing nights, threw us the best Christmas parties, and never made you feel bad for calling in sick. Everyone loved this guy. If the store did well he got a bonus and would use it to throw the Christmas party and beer nights. Well, he eventually left and the manager he was replaced with is a fat lazy cunt who refuses to be at the store any longer than he absolutely has to. I once was called into work when I was recovering from an injury because this guy was going home early and there was no one to close. I refused and he still went home early. Needless to say people have been quitting left and right. And the quality of our store has nosedived because everyone thinks, well, if he doesn't give a fuck about helping us then we don't give a frick about helping him. As a result people just show up to collect their checks and do the bare minimum. It's sad to see for me because I remember how good we had it when I first started there. Thanks for watching, Team Astro. Please subscribe for more videos. Please consider liking the video if you've loved the video. Daily fun fact before you leave. If you believe that you're truly one in a million, there are still approximately 7,184 more people out there just like you.